right, and away we go on the final Thursday of our podcast season. It's a little bit of a bittersweet episode tonight, but we're more than thrilled to be with you here for our final UKnighted podcast of the 2025-2026 academic year. You know, it was funny, right before the show started, I was just talking with Matthew Snyder, who works in our athletic administration department, and we were reminiscing on the first ever episode that we had here in the 2025-2026 season. It was at the UPick6 Tap House, and, you know, back then we thought, oh my goodness, we still have so much of the year in front of us, right? How are we ever going to be able to make it through everything that will go on throughout the year? We talked about the excitement, we talked about expectations, we talked about what this year could look like for Gannon Athletics and the potential history that could be made. But you never know until it happens, and hard to believe that the season has gone by as quick as it has, but it is believable at all the incredible success that we have seen throughout the way. So with that, we welcome you in for our final UKnighted podcast of the season. We are here live at Pier 6 Rooftop Bar and Restaurant on an absolutely gorgeous Thursday evening at an absolutely beautiful location. Let me just say this right now. I think between any restaurant in Erie County and the surrounding area, you'd be hard-pressed to find one that is better than Pier 6 Rooftop Bar and Restaurant. An atmosphere that rivals any other, and just a place that you can absolutely love and cherish with your family and friends and get a great meal to boot as well. So make sure to make it down here to Pier 6 Rooftop Bar and Restaurant. They are now open for the season. So much great food, great atmosphere, and the construction, it shouldn't hold you back. There's still plenty of parking on the bayfront. You just walk right in like you normally do. This is a great place to get some food, enjoy a wonderful atmosphere, and as we get into future podcast seasons, spend a little bit of time with us. So happy to have you in here on this final Thursday of our podcast season. We are live again at Pier 6 Rooftop Bar and Restaurant. Our show today is going to be a bit of a reminiscing episode, looking back at all the amazing moments from the season. We won't get to all of them, but just giving you a bit of a look back into the time machine as to everything that happened this year. Some of the things that happened in the fall feel like they've happened 3 or 4 years ago, but there's been so much excitement and success packed into one athletic season, so we're excited to bring it to you today. But first, of course, we will not stray from tradition. We begin with our dish of the day. For a dish you can find right here at Pier 6 Rooftop Bar and Restaurant. Got a good one for you. Let's show you our dish of the day. Nothing better than a classic. The fish and chips is our dish of the day here on the UKnighted podcast, a staple, not just in this community, but in several other communities as well. And one of the best dishes that they have on the menu here at Pier 6. We're so excited to be able to every single week collaborate with John Russell Hospitality as they give us our dish of the day. Perfect way to end the season. Can't go wrong with the fish and chips. You can get that dish of the day today right here at Pier 6 Rooftop Bar and Restaurant. And every day they are open throughout the season. Like we said, Pier 6 is open for the year. Construction be darned. They're doing a great job with renovating the bayfront, but it doesn't give you an excuse not to come here. Temperatures getting warm as well. It's a beautiful evening tonight. Make sure to make it out to Pier 6 Rooftop Bar and Restaurant. All right, as we start our show tonight, we figured, like we said, we'd reminisce on some of the most amazing moments from the athletic season, including some of the moments that maybe seem like they're a little bit more in the rearview mirror because it's been so long. Of course, we still have sports going on in our spring season. Baseball competing in the PSAC tournament today. Men's golf currently sitting in first place right now in the Atlantic East Regional as it stands, so excited to have them continue their season. They'll play round 2 tomorrow and round 3 on Saturday, trying to make national championships in Las Vegas in a couple of weeks. So many incredible moments as we've talked about throughout the season. And when we go back to the start of the year, one of the first incredible moments that we had was the first piece of history that was made in the Gannon Athletics season. Up until this year, there had never been a female cross-country runner in Gannon program history that had A, won a PSAC individual championship, and B, qualified to compete in the NCAA national championship competition. That was until we got to Emily Bowers, a sophomore who had a breakout freshman season, and in her sophomore year did even more than maybe what she was expecting of herself. She won the PSAC individual championship, became the first female to do so, and then had a history-making moment in Kenosha, Wisconsin at the NCAA championships. One of our first moments of the year that made you smile. It's Emily Bowers and her incredible achievement of competing in NCAA championships. All right, back here at the United Podcast, you were taking a look at some of the amazing moments from the season, some of the moments that that we are now remembering, not just in this, but in so many others as well. Happy to be joined by my colleague, who I feel like we're always out in the field. We never get a chance to just sit down and reminisce on these moments. Taylor Brown, our Associate Director for Athletics Media Relations. You and I have been running around all season long, so no one better that I can think of to talk about all the incredible moments. Let's start with Emily Bowers in cross country. You know, when we begin this season, you and I kind of take a look and we kind of survey the scene and we go, okay, like there are certain individuals that we know could really be at the top, right? That could make a run, could do things that nobody else has. And I think when we saw Emily for the first time run at the race in the park and then moving forward, we really got the sense of like, okay, she's going to be something really special.
Yeah, they're usually no team better, as Rob has trained Emily through these years, talking to him about her, how hard she works. That whole team as a whole, I really enjoyed watching them this year. Luckily, they are outside of my office, so I always hear the conversation. I always hear, you know, hey, we're gonna do this year, and Coach Rob has really developed that program, and for Emily Bowers to set the milestones and do everything, it's amazing for that program. So I'm excited. I'm already ready for the fall, ready for Emily Bowers to go again and maybe have a few teammates join her.
It's scary. She got 2 more years left. That's the thing with a lot of the people that we're going to talk about here. A lot of them have still time left in their collegiate careers, which is the cool thing, is that this is not a one-off year for Gannon Athletics. There's still a lot of years left for these people, and then recruits that coaches bring in is really, really neat as well. And I think for cross country, a team that I talked about a meteoric rise, I remember, on this podcast when they had the success that they had, and Emily made national championships. That's really what they're on right now. I truly feel like they're at a point now where I don't think Emily's going to be the only one who makes nationals next year, if I had to make a guess.
No, and I'm excited for them in the fall.
No question. So that was one of the first really amazing moments for the fall. And, we're trying to go through the timeline here, and so we might be out of order with some of these, but the next amazing moment that we got to see on our home turf, one of the things that we've always talked about with men's soccer and Billy Colton is, man, they make so many runs in the NCAA tournament. They always have a strong team. They're always right there in the top 10 of the country, it seems like, at the end of the year. But the PSAC championship has always eluded them. They have not been able to win it, which is crazy when you think of all the NCAA success that they have had. Well, they got their chance this year on the 16th of November in a cold, windy, and snowy environment. I know because I still have frostbite from my fingers. Men's soccer against Millersville in the PSAC championship game. The team that had beaten them so many times in previous years, the team that they could not seem to get over in previous seasons, they got that opportunity in the conference championship at home, and here is what the result looked like.
Come on! Hey, just go!
It's a happy group of dudes right there. That's one of the coolest pictures that I got the opportunity to take this year. And what a moment. You saw the emotion that came out of Billy Colton once they won that. And, yeah, the run of the Elite Eight was really, really cool. The one that followed it, right? You beat Bentley in the round of 32, and then, of course, they beat Franklin Pierce, another team that had their number in the last few seasons in the round of 16, and they go all the way to the Elite Eight. They lead the country in scoring. Sarah Orton, who wins Male Student Athlete of the Year, by the way, congratulations to Sevi on that. He gets Ron Lenz Player of the Year for another season, and those were all awesome moments. But to get over that hurdle of winning the PSAC championship, that was a cool moment, and it happened. It happened almost storybook wise, right? Like we give up the first goal, give up the first goal of the game, and to be able to make that comeback was pretty cool to see, Taylor, and you and I were there for it.
I mean, Coach Colton talked about it at the end of the year, his speech about getting back on track after that game where they hadn't won back-to-back, which
right.
we're used to them seeing winning back-to-back games.
Mm-hmm.
So he finally told his team to lock in. Everyone stepped up. And even in all the tournaments, I mean, they were the comeback boys. That's what we kept joking about.
It was cool because I think the way the season went with soccer, right? They start the year 3-2-3. They got blown off the map by East Stroudsburg early in the season. And Billy was open about it. He talked about that, look, this was one of the years halfway through where he wasn't sure where this team was going to go, quite frankly, because they weren't performing to expectations. But I'm not sure if they don't go through that stretch at the beginning of the year that they get to the Elite Eight. They went through adversity and they smashed through it like I haven't really seen a team do all year.
Yeah, no, it was exciting to cover them. Just the emotions, and of course, they loved the camera. They loved us covering them. And it was like a turnaround. It was like a switch just flipped, and out of nowhere, they're blowing teams out, which it's awesome. It makes our job easier.
8-0-1 at home. Gannon went in the season. They get to the Elite Eight. Coach Colton, of course, with a flurry of great talent. And it's not just Sarah Orton who's part of that. Shota Toyama was the unsung hero of the year. He ended up being the soccer team MVP. You look at guys on the back end, Gonzalo Perez, Jensen Peak, the defense, Andre Marias in the net, all those guys who don't really tally on the score sheet, but were able to have the success to get this team to where they needed to go. And then, of course, guys who on the offensive end were huge parts as well. PK Lofstead, who had a couple of huge goals, and a couple of guys, too, on the outside who were just barn burners and could score goals at will. So men's soccer, what a moment for them as we continue through the fall. And then we go to the pool. And again, as we continue through this episode, make sure in the comments to give us your favorite moment of the sports season for Gannon Athletics. There are a lot to choose from, and we'll pull some of those comments as we see them throughout the duration of the show. Moving through with the fall, a team that has a really tight bond, a team that tends to sometimes fly under the radar in terms of the success that they've had, and a team that just welcomed a new member of the family into the family, literally, the new baby boy for head coach Darko Sadakovic, who is already, I hear, training in the pool to become the next 2-meter defender for the men's water polo team. How about a couple of big records for this men's water polo squad, Taylor? Specifically, Alexandros Kotskar, who sets not one but 2 program records. He sets the program record for career goals and the program record for career points.
Yeah, I know Alexandros outside of water polo. He's always working basketball games. He's always outside. He's always just working for the athletic department. And every encounter I've had with him, he's just very nice, very, very fun to talk to. Mm-hmm. He's always grateful, and he loves water polo.
And he's, like you said, such a down-to-earth guy, right? He embodies a student athlete, right? Men's water polo has a lot of very intelligent individuals on their team, both in the pool and outside in the classroom as well. And that was really, really cool to see. Of course, they got the highest seed that they had gotten in the WWPA championship since the inception of them going into the conference, and really were 2 goals away from being in the championship game. I mean, this was not a team that got blown off the map. In fact, they were very much in the game and at some points led the game against a very, very talented team from California. So congratulations to men's water polo for a great season. Also women's water polo as well. You talk about some records. Maria Martinez, she led the conference in goals. Molly Fair with a great end to her senior campaign. So women's water polo doing a great job as well as we talk about those 2 seasons as a whole. Let's continue along with the fall. There are a few things in Gannon athletics that we know are pretty much constant every year, right? The saying is death, taxes, and blank. Well, in the fall, it is death, taxes, and Matt Darling's team will host the regional and probably make the Elite 8. And lo and behold, for another year, this happened. You know, we take these things for granted sometimes because we win so many trophies in Gannon athletics, and we don't mean that to be arrogant. It's just our teams have so much success. In volleyball, it seems like every single year is just penciled in to be the region host, penciled in to be in the PSAC championship game, penciled in to be in the Elite 8. But Matt Darling's team this year, with a bit of a new-ish look, they had to have a bunch of newcomers come in. You look at the way that this team gelled together, Taylor, you work with them on a day-by-day basis in the fall. This was really impressive based on the turnover of the roster that they had to endure in the offseason.
I mean, you lose your senior in Emma Hall, so you're looking for a libero. Coming in, you have Bangasu Arslan, who's going to be a senior, setting everyone up. Mm-hmm. But a lot of players actually stepped up for that team this year. Freshman Alexis Fowler, freshman. There were a bunch of freshmen. There was Carly Weber. There was
a lot of people that came off the bench too that were huge contributors for them. And I also think then you look at some of the returners that needed to step up, right? Sydney Wake in an increased role. She had a great dynamic playoffs. Lauren Atwell, who was traditionally a middle blocker, now she has to go and she has to play the outside. So, Matt Darling, I think, doesn't get enough credit, even though he's deservedly going to be now in the Erie Sports Hall of Fame this season, coming up in June. Congratulations to him. And I also think now when you look at, what exactly this team's been able to do, he just knows where to put people.
And don't forget about transfer Casey Smith. She came in this year. She came in as a team leader, and she knew her role, and she really stepped up in the postseason. And It was really fun to know that team.
It was really cool, and they have a lot coming back next year as well, including Claxon. Bree Claxon's sister is going to be on the team next year. She could be a big part of this Golden Knights attack with so many coming back, right? You look at the junior class between Wake, Lauren Atwell, Carissa Ezra's a part of that. Nahiri Asjolu is going to be a part of that as well. And then Alexis Fowler, who played such a great libero role for Matt Darling's team. So they get a lot back next year. They lose Sue. That's going to be a tough loss. But what a career for Bangasu Arslan, who was a finalist for our Student Athlete of the Year on the female side. So congratulations again to volleyball. They make the Elite Eight again. I hate to say we just pencil them in for it again next year, but that just seems to be the floor for Matt Darling's squad, which is kind of ridiculous when you think about it, that the worst you're going to do every year at minimum is a regional semi, a regional final, or in most cases a trip to the Final Eight. That's really, really cool to see.
Put it in his notebook.
We need to see at some point, by the way, I will give a quick side note with Coach Darling. Want to give him some gratitude because he allowed us into the social media world for his volleyball team this year. At some point, whether it's next year or the year after, we need to do a segment where he reveals his notebook. Maybe that's going to be, if he wins the national championship, he has to show us what's in there.
Yep.
He'll probably have it burned by then already because he's way smarter than you and I. He knows what's up. But again, congratulations to volleyball. Talking more a little bit about the fall, there were so many teams that we didn't get to that had great years as well. Also want to mention golf. It's kind of a hybrid sport for them, right? Golf in the winter and the spring. Men's golf getting third at PSACs. Right now, though, they lead the regional after one round for the Atlantic Regional. And we'll get to women's golf a little bit later, but maybe we just talk about it now. 7 straight PSAC championships for women's golf, and what was a great start to the fall season as well for them. Scott Siena won Gannon Athletics Coach of the Year this year. It was a well-deserved honor, and I'll tell you what, he is certainly one of the best, not just in the conference, but in the world at large at golf.
7 is a lot, and that's awesome for that program.
And the way that they were able to win in just edging out Westchester, but having to come from behind, they were 5 strokes down at one point in the final round. You were there. It seemed like there was so much emotion, but controlled emotion from that team in the final round.
Yeah, very controlled, very focused. You could tell they had a purpose that day. So their pep talk must have worked before. No question.
So you look at reminiscing on the fall, what an incredible fall it was. So many milestone moments, so many amazing things to talk about. And Taylor, if you're cool staying on for a few minutes, let's talk about the winter, shall we?
Let's get into it.
Fall turns to winter, and we take a one-day break, was it? That was about all we had until the winter season started. And what people may not remember, because it seemed like so long ago, it was over 6 months ago, the winter season started at the beginning of November, because what might get lost in the shuffle of this is we hosted the D2 CCA Tip-Off Classic for the women's basketball side. Edinburgh and Gannon jointly hosting this tournament. Some of the top teams in the nation coming to Erie to play in a prestigious tournament. And women's basketball with a strong showing. They win 2 games in that, and then they go on to have a really incredible year. But the winter season began in November to start the year.
With that crossover season.
Right.
So I was trying to remember during the time because we were fortunate to still be in soccer and volleyball, but This is also going on too. So no, that was a great time. It was good basketball, and we all know Erie loves their basketball. Our fans love our basketball.
And you think about just the quality of teams that were there, right? You look at teams like Minnesota State, which was a top 5 team to end the season. Northern Michigan cracked the top 25 not too long after. Union was the number 2 team in the country coming into the season. North Georgia was the number 4 team coming into the season in the country. Edinburgh, of course, gave Gannon a run for their money in the regional tournament in the first round. They were stingy. And then, of course, Cal, always a tough matchup no matter what their season looks like. So you have to give a ton of credit to Erie as a whole, and of course Gannon being a big part of that for hosting the D2 CCA Tip-Off Classic as we roll along here. So, one of the things that I think is going to be talked about for a long time is just the way that the basketball seasons went. And, of course, you can't tell the story of Gannon Athletics without talking about the first. And by first, we mean first ever national championship, team national championship in program history. Men's basketball getting it done. Defeating Lander in the championship game to what was a raucous crowd inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indiana. And I will just say this, as we roll some of the highlights. I'm not going to play the whole cinematic recap because we've seen that a bunch already. Coach Houston Bizzoli is here with us right now. He's taken in the final episode here of this podcast at Pier 6 Rooftop Bar and Restaurant. I have never seen a team make it look so easy in a run to the national championship as men's basketball. They bludgeoned teams from the Elite Eight on and making history in the process. It was so cool to be a part of, too.
I mean, I think the closest game that we've seen all year was that PSAC championship.
It was.
Where, of course, they lost, but then they came back and you end up winning a national championship. So congratulations again to Coach Bizzoli and the Golden Knights.
You look at the team that will, of course, be different next year with players exiting, players entering, but you look at what they had this season between Pace Prosser, what he was able to do, winning the player of the tournament, most outstanding player of the Division II Elite Eight. the Morgan twins, Lucas and Mackenzie Morgan, who come from Australia and show that little bit of flair as to what they were able to accomplish. Lucas doing incredible things throughout the year, and then Mackenzie coming on and maybe outside of pace being the best player in the tournament, not just for Gannon, but for the entire tournament as a whole. And there's a lot of adversity that you face in any sport, right? But with basketball, every year your roster is going to look different because the transfer portal runs rampant. And that's not necessarily a bad or a good thing. It's just the truth. But Coach Easton Bozzoli, assistant coach Mike Chalice, no excuses. And they just found a way to win each and every single game. And really their most impressive stretch, Taylor, I think were the final 3 games of the season when they win by 26, 18, and 23 points.
It's just impressive. The brotherhood is what Coach Bozzoli called it.
Yeah, and a national championship to boot. Congratulations to men's basketball for their national championship, and man, what they were able to do on that national stage and really making it look easy. I remember I was sitting there in Indianapolis and people even asked me, they go, well, Isaac, what were you thinking at the 8-minute media timeout when you're up 25 and you know you're going to win the national championship? And my honest reaction, Taylor, was, who are we playing next? It didn't feel like a national championship game because those games are supposed to be tight, right? They're supposed to be close. They're supposed to be heavily contested. And I'm not saying Lander didn't deserve to be there. They're an incredible basketball program. And, man, the way that they were able to take down Nova Southeastern to that Final Four was amazing. But this Gannon team was on a different level this year, and it really showed.
It was fun to watch them. I remember that Sunday during that championship game. I didn't make the trip. I wasn't feeling well, but I remember getting texts from my parents saying, what's going to happen next? What's next?
Right.
What's the plan next? And I said, you're going to have to wait. I'm sorry.
And a big shout out too, as we go through this show, I think one of the things that we want to also appreciate is the Gannon fan base, right? And what you guys have done, not just for basketball, but for every sport, every single year. Stands are always packed. Fans are always passionate, but it was so neat to see Gainbridge Fieldhouse packed. Not that it was completely full and sold out, but there were 7,000 or 8,000 fans in that arena, most of them Gannon Golden Knights fans. And to make the trip 5.5 hours on Easter Sunday at 1 o'clock, we know you all had Easter plans, and yet you decided to put those on hold and go to the national championship game anyway. So what a moment. Men's basketball winning the first team national championship for the NCAA in program history. But that was preceded by another national championship, Taylor Brown, because the stretch in March between the middle of March and beginning of April was a blur, and it was a whirlwind in a good way. Because before men's basketball won a national championship, Dorian Crosby was busy winning one of his own. Yes, I will admit that was me in the background when Dorian got the takedown. Okay, you can all laugh at me. You can all say I don't have professional integrity because I got emotional when he won the national championship, but I captured it. Okay, so lay off for just a second, Gannon fans. I'm normally pretty mellow, but that was one of the moments where I wasn't. The story of Dorian Crosby is one that will be told for forever. It's been covered by the NCAA. It's been covered by us. It's been covered by so many. And he, of course, is part of a team. One of 5 All-Americans that Gannon men's wrestling had this season. A year that Tom Boyd's team will never, ever forget, and one that will be in the record books for Gannon men's wrestling, which is a rich and storied tradition to begin with. But for Dorian Crosby, you know, I think it was so fascinating the way that he was able to balance things between being a dad, being a husband, being a full-time school teacher, winning a national championship, and also Taylor not complaining about it. Just kind of went about his own business.
he put the work in and he got it done. He accomplished his mission.
And I think that was one of the things that was so fascinating to me when the biggest moment that I knew he was going to win the national championship was when he walked out to his entrance song for the final, and he's just going along singing like he's taking a walk on, his home street or whatever. And that was really, really neat to get to see. And again, just an incredible, incredible season for Dorian and for the Golden Knight men's wrestling team. And Taylor, next year they're going to be pretty darn good too, because they get a lot of people back in their starting lineup, which will be pretty cool.
I mean, Coach Boyd is already reaching out to us about, hey, I know in the fall we have soccer and stuff, but are we able to schedule a home event? And I said, you know what, for you, Coach Boyd, we can do the best we can.
We'll make anything happen for our coaches and our teams. That's no doubt about that. They're more than deserving of all of the opportunities that they get, and Dorian Crosby is one of them as well. So much more to get to in the winter season as we continue along in the United podcast. We're live here at Pier 6 Rooftop Bar and Restaurant, the Media Relations Department, taking you through the last episode. Taylor Brown and I giving you some of the cool moments that we got a chance to capture and be part of throughout the entire season. And make sure in the comments to tell us what your favorite moment of the athletics year was as we wrap up the final couple of weeks of the season with men's golf still in it in the regional. And by the way, we just got the results from day one. Men's golf is in the lead in the team standings for the regional through one day. We'll be down there on Saturday covering the final day for you. We're going to get back to wrestling in a second, but let's focus now and shift our attention to a team that you covered all year and you were with for national championships in a sport that next year will be an NCAA sanctioned sport. This is one of the cool things that we get to focus on this next year. And in a year that was really special for a lot of reasons. Addie Womeldorf takes over as head coach. She was a former student athlete, a former assistant coach. She bleeds acrobatics and tumbling in Gannon. And she takes this team that didn't meet the expectations they hoped for last season, and she turns it around. Multiple ranked victories, and to boot, a spot in the NCATA team championships. Taylor, what a moment for them. And just take us through what the season was like and getting to watch this team perform at the level that they did.
First-year coach, Addie and I are very good friends. So talking to her about what her expectations for the season, I couldn't be more happy and proud of that program. The senior leaders, the girls, they were just great to be around. Every time I was around them, they're coming around. They're saying, Taylor, Taylor, Taylor. I do owe them Just Dance, and I will get that to them, but
that's all you. I can't move. So there you go.
But no, they work hard. Going to their practices, I was talking to my mom about this. I played basketball and softball growing up, and you're hitting a ball, you're shooting a ball.
Yeah.
They're just doing flips in practice. And I'm like, I don't even know how to do that, but they are so talented. Well respected on campus.
Yeah.
I enjoy working with this team. They're very hard workers, and I'm very happy for Coach Addie and her staff.
Yeah, they make the challenging look effortless, and I think that was one of the things that's shown throughout the season. Addie Womeldorf, what an incredible year for her. She was a star in helping this team get back to the level that they have been at for so many seasons, and also competing in several individual event finals as well. They had a lot of routines that started out at a high level, and they just kept increasing. The difficulty level always went up, and then they executed it. And I think it was amazing to get to see them on a stage with teams like Oregon and Baylor, giving the Ducks a run for their money in both the games that they played in the regular season and in the postseason. And acrobatics and tumbling is positioned so well for future years to come. And what will be an NCAA sport coming up next year, that'll be really, really cool to get to see for this acrobatics and tumbling team, which is a bright future ahead. Speaking of NCAA sanctioned sports, acrobatics and tumbling is next year. This year was the first year for women's wrestling being an NCAA sanctioned sport. And Erin Vandiver's squad wasted little time in putting that opportunity to good use, because for the first time ever, we had an NCAA national qualifier for women's wrestling. Bella Phillips, the sophomore, wrestling at 180 pounds. Tell you what, I wouldn't want to come across her in a back alley. She would kick my butt, and she would kick a lot of people's butts too. She took 5th at national championships and made history in Iowa in the first ever chance for a female wrestler for Gannon University to compete in NCAA championship. Bella Phillips, All-American, 5th place finish. The Golden Knights team as a whole with a great season. They did very well at the regional competition. But let's start talking about Bella for a moment here, Taylor. You got a chance to be with them at the regional competition. I was there with her at national championships. The floor is a ceiling for Bella Phillips, for somebody who could very well see herself on the Rays stage next year in the national final if she continues at this level.
All I have to say is Bella Phillips is a beast, but she is one of the most down-to-earth people that I've ever talked to. Very nice, very respectful, but I'll tell you what, she can wrestle, and I'm excited already to cover her next year.
And one of many Gannon student athletes on the women's wrestling team that had such an amazing career. We'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Lily Ufalvi, who not only just won Gannon Female Student Athlete of the Year, extremely well-deserved, ends her career, Taylor, with 101 wins. That's a program record, eclipsing 100 career wins at the regional. You would be hard-pressed to find an individual that has helped to impact a team more than Lily for women's wrestling.
No, Lily has a big heart, and I mean, she broke the record. The original record was either 90 or 91, and she broke it by 10. Yeah. So very deserving for her. Just couldn't happen to a better human.
And a multiple-time national qualifier at the NCWWC. Lily ending an incredible career. There were so many others who were right there on the cusp of making it to nationals. Rose Cassiope, who had to deal with a lot of adversity and injuries throughout the season, she was right there. She'll be a big opportunity next year for her to potentially get to the national competition, and so many others as well who were right there on the cusp. Women's wrestling positioned very well as we move along through the end of this year and the beginning of next year. Let's continue along with some of our incredible moments. We, of course, want to also highlight competitive cheer and dance. What a year for Kelly Mikowski on two fronts. She welcomes in her first child into the world, a beautiful baby boy, and that took her out of coaching for a few months as she was on maternity leave. And Taylor, she immediately comes back, and what does she do? She has a great showing at the Road to Daytona Showcase here at the Highmark Event Center, and then she just so happens to take her team to many great heights in Daytona, and in the process secure the top finish ever for a game day performance, getting second down in Daytona. It was pretty cool to get to see. This is some of the highlights from Road to Daytona. Another team that works extremely hard, and some of the things they do, I just sit there and I gawk in amazement, like, how do you do this?
I mean, we saw the competitive dance, well, both teams competed, not competed, but kind of performed at the basketball games and the wrestling matches, and I think I memorized the hip hop song by the end of the last performance. Yeah. But I can't dance. But watching these student athletes perform and really give it their all, everyone's screaming in the background when we're playing their music, and they're just going. It's very exciting. And they're a fun team to cover as well.
Yeah, and a team that had a lot of maturity to them. They worked really hard. They also continued to up difficulty on their routines throughout the season. And again, to be able to have that program high ranking of second at game day at Daytona with Coach Mikowski, I wouldn't say on the sideline, but not available for as much as she would normally be in seasons because of course, being a mother, which is such an important part of anybody's life. And to be able to come back and immediately perform the way that they did, incredible season for competitive cheer and dance. They're going to be right in the thick of things again, and I'm sure vying for first place results as soon as next year. So congratulations, competitive cheer and dance. And congratulations to all of our winter sports teams as well on incredible seasons. The ones that we didn't mention also had amazing years as well. We'd be remiss if we didn't shout them out as well. And as we end our competitive cheer and dance talk, there were other events and milestone moments and projects that we worked on throughout the year that shouldn't go unnoticed as well. We won't get to all of them in this show, but arguably the biggest part of our department with philanthropic work outside of our student athlete success on the field is Make-A-Wish. We've now hosted a wish reveal for 8 consecutive years and are consistently near the top of the NCAA in Make-A-Wish funding, Make-A-Wish donations, and Make-A-Wish help with kids who deserve that wish to be granted. And this year we hosted one as well. Competitive cheer and dance was a huge part of it, as well as all of our student athletes. Incredible to get to see 13-year-old Reagan and her wish come true. Take a look. Tell you what, that tugs at your heartstrings every time you watch that video.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about Make-A-Wish throughout the season and what it means to us and what it means to so many others, but seeing that work be put into motion with that wish reveal that was earlier in the winter, that was really cool to see. And you've been a part of a couple of them now, Taylor, and I'm sure for you it always feels like there is a special moment to it when it happens.
There's always a special moment. I believe my first year we did it at a basketball doubleheader.
Yeah.
Last year we did it at acrobatics and tumbling, and this year we did it at basketball.
Basketball again. Yep.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of work, and you're always nervous doing it just to make sure everything goes right, and then everything ends up going extremely right, and you're just thankful to be a part of it. You're blessed.
I thought it was appropriate that the theme was friends for Reagan's reveal. That was one of her favorite shows, and we get to make new friends when we get to host Make-A-Wish reveals, and we can't wait to host another one next year and help continue our support with Make-A-Wish throughout the year. Also, one of the things that we got to recognize during the month of February was our Hall of Fame 2026 class. 8 new inductees who more than deserve this honorable distinction into the Hall of Fame. Let's take a look at how that went down as well. Always a really cool event, the 2026 class of the Gannon Athletics Hall of Fame, and I can confirm that plans are already in the works to get our 2027 class on the board. Not there yet. We're getting there. Voting is in the midst as we continue through the summer, so we will be excited to reveal the class in the coming months of 2027. I can tell you that there are a lot of worthwhile candidates that we will get to select from here in the coming months throughout the summer. So that takes us from winter to spring. Again, want to congratulate all of our student athletes of the fall and winter seasons, Taylor. And as we talk about the spring, of course, women's golf really is kind of where we begin with their 7th consecutive PSAs. That kind of seems ridiculous, doesn't it? 7 straight conference championships. But explain a little bit from your perspective in the final day that you were there, what they were able to do to come across the finish line and show resolve, because they were trailing halfway through the final round and somehow found a way to bring it back together and come up with a win.
They were trailing basically like you had mentioned, but basically Scott just told them, you guys need to talk to each other, find your groove, and they did. And we all know Westchester was close to us in the Dixon Trophy standings, but also they needed not to just play for themselves, but play for the team.
Right.
So that final day, I believe, I can't remember what hole he said, someone chipped in and it just turned. Yeah,
ended up being the individual champion, Alex LaCure, who chipped in on 9 for birdie. And it's amazing how mental of a game golf is, that one hole swings the pendulum in so many different directions. And a memorable championship win for the Golden Knights, who in the last few years have ran away with this thing. And they had to battle really hard this year to get it done, and they do get it done. And a great showing for them at conference championships. They just wrapped up regional play as well, had multiple golfers in the top half of the field. So in what was dreadful conditions in Findlay, Ohio, if I say so myself, I'm still dealing with the effects of the rain. I feel like my sweatshirt is still damp from the monsoon that came down on Tuesday. So congratulations to women's golf. Of course, men's golf, as we take a look at the scoreboard right now, is 2 strokes ahead of the rest of the field with the first round complete. They are 5 over par as a team. How about Rasmus Seppänen today? 3 under par round of 67. He had 6 birdies, did the Swede. The kid just never fails to disappoint. Remember, Rasmus last year took 2nd in the individual standings as Gannon tied for 1st in the region. Top 3 teams make it to national championships. Golden Knights looking to advance for another season. It would be the 4th time in the last 5 years for the Golden Knights. Elsewhere in the spring sports realm, would be remiss if we didn't talk about women's lacrosse, some of the program records that were set. How about Charlie Hunter surpassing 100 career goals, 100 career points, a senior whose legacy will be lasting on the program for years to come, Taylor?
Charlie Hunter was very enjoyable to watch. My 3 years, I believe, she was a sophomore my first year, and watching her develop and grow into the player that she is, finished out her career at Gannon has been tremendous. And I love covering lacrosse and watching her play, score. You're always cheering for Gannon. You're always cheering for your team. And that team came together this year. I thought, let's talk about Bella Veltri. Yeah. I mean, almost fresh PSAC West Freshman of the Year. She comes back. She's going to be dangerous. Yeah. She will come back.
And I think, too, for the lacrosse program, a team with such high energy, a team that has a lot to look forward to over the horizon for years to come. Charlie's certainly setting the standard. Bella Veltre and so many of the other young players really showing out towards the end of the season as well. So women's lacrosse with a lot of bright spots in the 2026 season. And softball as well, just narrowly missing out on the PSAC tournament. But I'll tell you what, you talk about records. How about Emma Smerick setting the stolen base record? She had 73, and right now it feels like she has 173 because she steals about 9 bases a game, at least it feels like. And a lot of players that are young that will be back next season. The student-athlete pool for softball is very, very large. Michelle Wiley and company have a really exciting future ahead for that softball program.
Yeah, obviously not how they wanted to end the season, but also maybe sometimes you need this in order to rebuild, reload. Looking forward to covering softball next year and hopefully for more records for Emma Smerick to break.
Yeah, and adversity, too, throughout the season. Softball had some injuries that they had to deal with throughout the year, so a really admirable effort to be able to do what they did at the end of the year and make that run towards the tournament. Fell, truthfully, 1 run short, and sometimes the margins are that thin that's what it takes to be able to get to somewhere or not. Speaking of 1-run margins, baseball's incredible season coming to an end today in extra innings. Heartbreaking game, but a great season as they get to the PSAC tournament for the first time since 2022. And a lot of huge wins throughout the season. The highlights we're going to show are from the win against Seton Hill, a team that only lost 2 games in conference all year. You know, DJ Cannon continues to build this train year by year by year. A lot of their players are going to come back next year. They have a lot of momentum. They played really well at home this season, Taylor, and a team that just seemed to win close games, which was not the case in previous years.
I mean, sometimes in the game of softball and baseball, you're one hit, one pitch away from either winning the game or losing the game. This year covering baseball, it was very enjoyable. Yeah. I mean, even today, the energy, it was that postseason energy. I don't know if anyone watches Ted Lasso. They had the Believe sign, and every end of the inning, everyone would touch that Believe sign, sure. And I even wanted to touch it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, you look at the way this season went. Matt Smith, Connor Smith getting second team all PSAC. Matt Smith, a breakout season. Hunter Troiano on defense was incredible. The pitching staff, Ryan Hood and Jake Engel, who were the 2 pitchers of record today, really didn't allow much in the game. It was a couple of little moments that ended up turning the tide one way or another, but baseball's positioned extremely well for the future as well, and just so many really awesome moments to look forward to as we continue along here throughout the rest of the season and then looking into next year. So I don't want to say that's it because that seems like we're missing out on a lot of things. A lot of moments that we didn't get to. So many incredible milestones for our student athletes on the baseball note. Logan Ayers also set a program record for career saves with 9 as well. So just so many milestones. Taylor, when you look back on this season, you know, you and I get a chance to be in the game, it feels like, for the most part. We're either on the sidelines, doing stats, doing the scoreboard, making sure that the production is run correctly. What will be some of the memories you'll take from this season for a program that's currently number 6 in the Learfield Directors Cup standings and is well on their way to more success in future years?
This is like the first time we've slowed down with everything. So seeing some of these videos from the fall and the winter, I have to remember that we actually were there working that. So I'm always told to take in the moment, celebrate the wins. And really, I think everything was my favorite. I mean, grew up loving sports and nothing gets better than winning. I mean, I know that sounds arrogant, but.
And the cool thing about it, too, is there's so much success on and off the field of competition, right? With the academic success, the way that our student athletes have been able to do so well in the classroom, and many of them you'll get to see the fruits of their labor pay off at graduation coming up, commencement happening on Saturday. So many student athletes are going to be honored with academic distinction. That's another huge part of what we do here. And we had 7 PSAC champion scholars throughout the course of the season. And just when you look back on the year, so many things that have been part of a list of amazing accomplishments for the Gannon athletic program this season. And we were happy to be a part of all of it, and we were happy that you could be a part of all of it with us. So, Taylor, great stuff. We're going to do our Coach's Corner segment and get you out of here. But till next year, I suppose, right? We still got men's golf coming up tomorrow and Saturday, and then hopefully national championships at the end of May. But, man, much more to look forward to in 2026, 2027 as well.
And congratulations to our graduating seniors on Saturday. You will be missed. Mm-hmm. I will miss talking and joking around with you for picture day and pre-games.
Yes, and we wish you could have a 5th year of eligibility. We'll try to get on the NCAA on that in the near future. But again, congratulations on the great career.
My favourite is always the pizza. Normally pepperoni pizza is the go-to. Can't go wrong with them. And then for a nap, normally it's smoked wings. There's always a good vibe in there. They treat you well in there. It's just right. Obviously the tap house is 2 blocks away, so it's a great place to take recruits and just sit and have some good food and some good company and have a chat. Yeah, we're proud of Sevi for that. That's 3 years in a row we've won Senior Student Athlete of the Year, which is great for the program. And then we're just getting ready to wind down a little bit, wrap up recruiting, be able to spend a little bit more time at home with our families before we start ramping up again for hopefully another successful fall.
And, of course, our Coach's Corner segment each and every single week is brought to you by our friends at John Russell Hospitality, as well as our Dish of the Day and our Top Play of the Month, which you can find every single month on our social media channels. Wow, what an episode. So many amazing moments that we went through, many, of course, that we didn't get a chance to get to, but we're so proud of our student athletes. That's first and foremost. What they do on a day-by-day basis in and out of the classroom and on the field of competition is just amazing. To be able to balance what they balance on a week-by-week basis, classwork, tough schedules, extracurricular activities, and, of course, the demand of a sports season, something that's really hard to balance. But they seem to do it on a day-by-day basis, and it's been really wonderful to get to see. And we enjoy watching them succeed just as much as they enjoy succeeding themselves. I want to give a couple of thank yous for our podcast this season. We've got 32 episodes under our belt, 2 seasons now in the books. Actually, you go back to last season, I counted them all up. This is our 60th episode for the United podcast. Kind of hard to believe that we've already gotten over the 50 mark with so many great episodes, amazing live guests, so much great content along the way. We want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor and to the UPick6 and John Russell Hospitality family for hosting us this entire year. We've been around so many of their great restaurants here at Pier 6 right now. Of course, our home base, the UPick6 Tap House. We were at the UPick6 Public House earlier this year. We were at the John Russell Brewing Company Brewery a little bit earlier this year as well. So many amazing locations that you can go to on a night-by-night basis and enjoy this great company, amazing food, great atmosphere. Tables are packed around me, not a single empty seat, not a single empty table, at least I can say tonight. So a really great crowd on hand for this beautiful Thursday. And again, Pier 6 is open for the season, so we highly recommend that you visit a few times, maybe even more than a few times this year as well. So a huge thank you to John Melody and the entire staff at John Russell Hospitality for partnering with us in the last 2 years for this United podcast and for being a part of our journey that started a year and a half ago and has continued along to talk about Gannon athletics on a week-by-week basis. Also want to shout out our entire athletic administrative team, our athletic director, Megan Morphy, and our team that have just so much enjoyed getting to see the student-athlete success. And, man, what a first year for Megan and what she's been able to do with this program, continuing the great tradition of success for Gannon athletics, sitting first in the Dixon Trophy standings as it is right now and 6th in the Learfield Directors' Cup standings, the highest of any PSAC institutions. And finally, to all of you, a thank you to all of you who have watched us each and every single week, dedicatedly on every Thursday between the month of August and May. It's been awesome to get to be your host for this show over the last couple of years. And, man, we're looking forward to what next season has in store as well. Don't want to wish the summer away. There's It's always a great amount of chance to relax and get some family time back after the busyness of the season. But we're more than looking forward to kicking this back off in August with season 3 of the United podcast and continuing our great partnership with the John Russell Hospitality family. So from all of us here at Gannon Athletics, we will see you next podcast season. Thank you for a wonderful year of athletics. Best of luck to men's golf as they continue our spring sports season, hopefully into the next couple of weeks with national championships on the horizon in Vegas, should they make top 3 of the region by the end of the day Saturday. Once again, from everybody here at Gannon Athletics, thank you for a great podcast season, 32 episodes strong. We'll see you all next year, the United Podcast, for more great content and coverage of Gannon Athletics. Take care, everyone, and have a wonderful Thursday and a great summer. Talk to you all.